Good morning, everyone. Sorry if there's a freeze. I don't know if you guys hear my voice right away when I come live because I try to talk once YouTube comes up, or if I don't know. Okay, well, I probably should introduce myself because it's a new day. I'm author Elizabeth Ann West, and I'm here with Future Fiction Academy. That's the channel, that's my company that I run with four wonderful other authors: Leland Artra, Karen Brown, Christine Breen, and Steph Pajonas. My voice is a little bit scratchy this morning, but never to fear. I have my wonderful Jane Austen mug and a nice hot cup of tea. All right, I figured we would begin this morning with a little bit of strategizing. Let me go ahead and get this window all set up so I can see your wonderful chat. Good morning, Karen. Good morning, Tim. I see you. Oh, my brain is still trying to process yesterday. So I was so tired last night that we didn't quite finish the stats. So let's go ahead onto this page. By the way, you have this link in your description, but I will also go ahead and share this link in your chat for just a second here. I'm trying to get everything all good to go. I try to set it up ahead of time, and I do a little bit, but sometimes it doesn't. Oh, Mandy and Jonathan, you're here. Good morning. Oh, it's super early for y'all. And Jim, good to see you. It was nice getting your messages on Slack. Very cool. Oh, that's going to happen a few times. So one thing I did do a little bit different this morning. Hi. Now I know your alter ego. Good morning, Mania. So one thing I did turn on, I do have a Mac, and I have in Mac, if you go to your system, your settings rather, and you turn on voice typing, I have this little microphone that's bouncing up and down that I'm going to use today so that I can dictate times when I want to write a prompt or something like that. I'm having not bad, but just a little bit of tinges in my neck, which comes from typing and hunching over. Horrible posture there. So good morning, Tara. Good to see you. All right. How did everybody else do yesterday with their projects? Not a competition, but I'm doing my stats. So if you want to share in the chat what you got done, that would be cool for me to see. Or if you want to make notes on your page. A quick recap of what we're doing here. The name of this goal, the goal of this game is to try to write 50,000 words in one weekend. We have generated 26,000 words. What does that mean? Generated versus written versus, AI. I'm saying generated is raw AI words. So we have 26,000 raw AI words at our disposal. Yesterday we did session 1, where it took a little bit for me to kind of get into the groove and everybody could see the components that I have. Then the second session, we did a deep dive on what it takes for me to actually manually kit bash two pieces together. So for me to actually edit the AI, because I'm using Sudowrite's story engine and I'm generating all of my beats with both best prose and most accurate. So when you do that, you get kind of like 1,800 to 2,000 words, but it's the same scene written two different ways. And then you have to decide which pieces you want. I kind of have an idea for a different strategy this morning. Excuse me, for editing. Number 2 that we did yesterday, after the editing session, we did session 3, which was just like, we went ham. Okay, that's what happened. Session 3, I was able to generate, just so we are specifying here. So this one, we generated chapter 3, 4, 5, and one version of Act 2, Chapter 1. I think most people here have already seen, but just so you know, this document has a lot of the components that you need to be able to follow along or repeat this long after. Number 1, like I said, this is being sponsored by Future Fiction Academy. That's where I'm CEO and I teach on a regular basis. I also do teach classes for Sudowrite. So Future Fiction Academy, teachable.com. You can join us. It's a small monthly fee, $129. It's like, I don't know, $25 a week, $30 a week. We meet 8 times a week like this in private Zooms where we answer all of your AI questions. We also keep you up to date on the latest information. When 3.5 16K dropped as a model, my members in the Future Fiction Academy were able to use it for their projects within 48 hours. They were trained and they were able to understand the differences and everything like that. That doesn't mean that the Future Fiction Academy will teach you every new tool of AI that comes down the pipeline. No, that's a fire hose. And quite frankly, we're all over inundated as well. We are focusing on what's new, but what can you use in this very moment? We are very tactical and practical. And I think that that is something that we need right now, because I don't know about you, but I've been super overwhelmed by just the amount of AI stuff that comes and gets invented every single week. What about the rest of you? You can let me know in chat or in the comments. But have you been overwhelmed by all the new advances that come down? I mean, sometimes on a Wednesday, I just want to lay down. We'll see how that goes in the chat. Let me catch up on the questions I asked about how everyone got. Okay, Harper, you burned through 10K raw words before you realized you wanted to write in first person. That happens. But at least you didn't have to type the 10K and then figure out that it was you wanted first person. That's one thing that I do like about writing with AI. Sometimes AI is helpful to be like, I just want to see how this scene could play out. Oh, no, I don't like that. Oh, nope. Okay, I need them not in the garden. I need them to be somewhere more exciting. You can use AI basically like a drafting tool, a tool to kind of see what could be before you're making final decisions. Whereas previously as writers, we could only really do that if we sat down and we did all the work ourselves and then decided if we didn't like it. All right, Tara's writing not as much as you wanted, but you're okay with it. I love it. You did a lot of restructuring and adding and taking away. Interesting that you put that comment there that you should have planned better. I am finding, I have to agree with you. Like, I'm finding that my best sessions have a little bit of planning to them. I got way more done yesterday because when I got in the weeds on session 2, and I really felt demoralized after session 2. After session 2, I was like, oh Lord, I just, if we only got 3,000 words done in an hour editing, I'm going to fail. I'm not going to be able to get this done. But then we kind of reviewed the document again at the beginning of session 3. And in this document, I did define what the project is. It's to write 50,000 words publicly on YouTube. I never said they had to be 50,000 perfect words. I'm just trying to get them into a way that I can play with them and I can edit them. So I had to readjust. And that was only helpful because I had that note to myself. So I hear you, Tara, on the planning. Okay, and yeah, you guys are all overwhelmed. There's a lot to keep up with, lots of level of changes. All right. Hi, Nicole. Good. I'm glad that I'm keeping you company while you're writing 2 volumes of erotic short stories. That's fabulous. That's something else that happens with AI. Not all AI models will help you write erotic stories. Sudowrite allows you to, and I think also Novel AI. And then there's also some local LLMs that people are having some success with that you can install on your own computer. Kind of usually takes like a gaming computer resources to run an LLM, but that is kind of the future. Prep work is a better word. Yes, prep work. That's what we'll use. I like it. Tara just coined prep work. So when we talk about writing with AI, we'll ask each other, did you do your prep work? Let's talk about that prep work. So the week before class, before we did this, I went ahead and did my prep work. And I'm watching the time. We're gonna get started here in just a second. Where I made a list of all the tools I have so that I know what I could grab. These are some prompts that we've been working on that I've been sharing. You probably want to watch the videos to see how they work. I probably should have put what sessions they're from. That would be a good idea. Let's do that. Although I'm not really sure which one session. You know what? This is just session 4 and beyond. These are in session 1 and 2. Sessions 1 through 3 prompts. Okay. So I have my style and my genre. So the preliminary outline of the story. This I think this is a kind of an important backbone. But I want to remind everyone, this is not set in stone. Okay, we didn't carve it in stone. This is literally like just a text document. But it was really, really good to have this because we are all the way here. We are at the point where this whole section is a farce because there's a lot that's going to happen in these scenes. Okay, so you have the outline of the story that we're writing, and I wanted you guys to have the outline so that you could follow along and kind of understand what I was trying to do. Down below here is the human planning section. I wanted everyone to see exactly what I did that was human only. So I did not have the AI help me devise this plan. We're going to revise this plan in just a second. So this is where I kind of decided what I wanted to happen in the book before I got this was like my pre-writing, just thinking of things I want to have happen in the book. Ooh, that's not true. I did have the AI help me brainstorm a couple of ideas because I was struggling with what Elizabeth Bennet could do to kind of make it up to Mr. Darcy. And ultimately decided it didn't give me the idea, actually. It just it gave me a different idea that then I could jump off of, which is often what happens to me with AI. So I kind of did my quick sketch of the outline and what would happen. Just very slapdash, very stream of consciousness. I assigned some word counts. Those word counts may not hold. This is just preliminary prep work. It's just to sketch out what the project is. So when I get overwhelmed by trying to make the AI read my mind and write exactly the words I want, I can pull this document out and remind myself, refresh myself, what's the goal here, Elizabeth? What are you trying to accomplish? And then I have here the methodologies. I think we may try to delve a little bit into some other methodologies too, because I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling overwhelmed by the fact that there's 26,000 raw words that I still have to edit. We were jamming with Sudowrite Story Engine last night. I was validating the beats, clicking, going, validating the beats, clicking, going, validating the beats, clicking, going. And now there's 26,000 words. Consequences. We have them. All right. And then I wanted to talk about commands. Commands are plot points plus instructions and plot progressions. And then I have 7 sessions. We've already done 3. We are on 4. This was the vision we had. This is not what happened. This is kind of funny. I'm going to keep it for posterity's sake. And then I'll probably kind of document what the heck happened when we get all done. So we're not going to read everything so far. We're not going to take notes on changes to be made and any changes to the outline. That would have been brilliant to do if we had been able to work at this pace, but that's not the case. Okay. So changing up what we're doing. So there's a couple of things, and I'm going to let it go to a vote. Here's the vote. We can start trying to validate in faster modes the writing that I've already done. That's what I could do this session, so that we can try to catch up and we can go, oh my gosh, we're at 20,000 pretty much final words that are just ready for another just run through. Or I can keep going, and when we get to 50,000 words generated, I stop and go, okay, success, and I just get started on trying to change those words into final words. You let me know what you would like to see this morning. So the vote is write more or start editing what we already have. So it's another editing session. And I don't have the Jeopardy music. Also, I think that would violate copyright. So we have 1 vote for keep going. Again, the vote is in there. Okay, so the vote is keep going again. Keep going, validate later. Y'all are bad friends. Y'all are enablers. Write more. Okay. So y'all going to be there when I'm like, I can't do it because it's too hard. We're going to have to break up the elephant and eat it one bite at a time when this editing mountain hits me. Okay, everyone. This is the vote is unanimous. There wasn't a single person that said edit what you have so far. Let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comments after this is all done if we were all wrong on this. Okay, but you guys are here, so that's what we're going to do. All right, so here we go. Oh, Tara, that's so nice. I have wine in my refrigerator. It's waiting. It's ice wine. That's why it's in the refrigerator. For anyone who's like, Elizabeth is an idiot. She doesn't know that you don't store wine in the refrigerator. That's not true. Depends on the wine. All right, so let's get going. I also think that I want a new methodology. I'm kind of bored. I know. Worst problems, right? First world problems. Okay. Yeah, I don't even want to look at this. This just gives me anxiety right now. So we are going to regroup. We have some chapter 4 beats. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys. There was some brilliance last night in session 3 at the very end. Running chapter 5. Sudowrite Story Engine accidentally gave me what I'm calling dialogue. It's dialogue draft beats. So just to share, because I know I've got some people in the house right now who love Claude. Who are my people in the house who love Best Prose on Sudowrite, but they're frustrated they can never get it to work? Or rather, it works. It loops, or it won't follow what you want. Anecdotally, I hit on another situation where there's the possibility that we're going to need to learn to write different beats for different models. Okay, so this one, these are the beats that Sudowrite wrote for me. And you'll see, Mr. Darcy, I must speak with you. Mr. Darcy's face registers surprise as he turns to Elizabeth. Miss Bennet, what can I do for you? I must ask you about your remark at the ball. It wrote dialogue drafts, and then it connected those. This was most accurate, wrote 4,000 words. It's trash. It's terrible. It looped on best accurate. I got the same scene over and over and over again. However, best prose with these dialogue beats. And I'm going to give you guys, I'm going to copy these, and I don't know that you'll get the same stuff. That's the crazy thing about AI. Let me give this to you all as an example, because I want to have, this is, oh, we did a dialogue beats attempt. So this is going to be a page, and this is going to be dialogue beats example, Sudowrite story engine wrote, so that you guys have them to see what, I don't know why it worked, but it worked. And I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. But when it ran best prose, Christine Breen and I were reading over this last night, and we were just floored. I cannot wait to edit this chapter, because there was just, it was almost chef's kiss in terms of how wonderful it was. There was a part here that I was swooning while I was reading it and validating it all. And if I'm doing that, then so will my readers. And I caught on to that last night. So for whatever reason, the beats for best prose, if they are more anemic, less meaty, and have dialogue in them, Claude from Anthropic seems to work with it. So I don't know. I haven't done experimentation on this, but so far I've seen this a couple of times beforehand. But this was one time that live it all got caught on camera, that it different beats for different models make for different results. Excuse me. So that is what we have so far. Have any of you experimented with dialogue beats in Story Engine? I'm just giving it the dialogue and letting it go. Awesome. Yeah, I've been to Mendy's Author Hour before, and this is the first time. This is the first time that Sudowrite accidentally wrote these beats for me. I've never written these beats before. I will say I tried it again, but I didn't really validate it, and it didn't go as a conversation that was sequential. I just gave bits of dialogue, and that did not work. So we'll try it somewhat today. We'll see how we can go. Okay, so we were working on chapter 6. One issue that I have is that I'm realizing that there's scenes that I'm missing, possibly, because it's kind of jumpy. So we are now back at Longbourn for the girls. We're done with the Netherfield Park fun and games. Elizabeth just had that really fun time with Mr. Darcy in the library. Let me go ahead and mark down where I am Sudowrite with words. So start of session 4. We are at 655,810 Sudowrite words. Yesterday, we kind of had a situation where I rolled over. So I lost words and I rolled over. So I have no idea how many words were used pretty much yesterday. That was kind of funny. Let me go ahead and stop my share for just 1 second so I can go ahead and pull the information from OpenAI. So I'll go to StreamYard real fast and I'll just remove it. So you just get to see me for a minute. Let me go back to Sudowrite and I'll open up OpenAI Playground. I can't show this to you because, well, I can, but here, I'll show this on real fast. We'll do a couple of little. Now you can see the screen. Now you can't. All right, so let me add the screen, and now you can see. This is the usage that we've done so far yesterday. So yesterday, July 1st on OpenAI cost me all of $1.27. I was running a lot of GPT-4, so that's one of the reasons why. If I scroll back to June, you can see that yesterday, June 30th, I cost on OpenAI all of 73 cents. And where I was using the AI to help me, it was a lot of GPT 16K and everything this week. All of these are basically the prep work. So the prep work was 66 cents, 99 cents, 68 cents, 73 cents. And now we are in a new month, July, $1.27. All right. Let me go back to just the playground. Oh, I don't have to come out. Okay, cool. And the mode that I've been mostly working in is chat. So here we go. So this was left over from before. We're not going to work on that. Let's get going. We are 20 minutes in. I don't think that, is there any questions about anything that I've covered so far? I don't think there will be. From what I saw for the most people, it was here. Okay, dialogue. So in AI, not in story engine. Interesting, Tim. Dialogue is my weakest link, so I tend to use it sparingly. Okay. Interesting. Description's my weakest link. I'm not usually very good at description. Okay, so we're back on Playground. Let's get going. So chapter 6. I do have a mega prompt. Grab that mega prompt. Using the provided synopsis character list, engaging manuscript. Novel manuscript. I guess some things here. Creating a narrative. All right. So I'm going to grab this information here. Oh, you know what? We're in a new act. Oh, I bet that's why I couldn't do it. My character list only has the characters for Act 4. I'm such a... Last night, I was so tired. Okay, so when we were running, we weren't running very well because I forgot that my character list only had. So we need an Act 2 character list. So let's go ahead and create that. So good problem to have is that we are now on Act 2. So the first thing I'm going to do is create an Act 2 character list. Now you're probably wondering, Elizabeth, why are you changing your characters based on what act you're in? And there's a reason. The reason is at any one time, we have no control over what information the AI decides is important and what's not important. So I lean on the side of, I only give the AI important information it needs to know. That way I can say, follow all of this information. If you overwhelm it with information and you say, read this information and decide what you need and write the scene, sometimes you don't get everything that you need. Now I use GPT-4 to make me a list of all the characters in the story outline and which acts and scenes they appear in. So I do have this handy dandy cheat sheet. And so Mr. Darcy, Caroline Bingley are in Act 2. Louisa Hurst is not in Act 1 or Act 2. Mr. Bingley's in Act 2. Mr. Collins is in Act 2. And Mary. I think everybody's in Act 2. This is probably the easier way to do this. By omission. So I know none of those are in. So Lady Catherine de Bourgh. So no Louisa. I think it said no Louisa Hurst. Let's see here. Yeah, she's not there. No Wickham. So I can take out Wickham. And then none of the, basically no officers. There's no military people. So now I'm going to come to my main character list that I have here. Grab this and bring it into my Act 2 character list. And I'm going to paste it in. And now I'm just going to start removing people. So I don't need to have George Wickham. He's not in this. And I don't need to have Louisa Hurst. I do need to add, okay, I have Kitty Bennett. So now what I need to do is I need to figure out how they change. So she also realizes her own pride. You know what? We can make the AI do this. Let's make the AI do this. I'm going to grab this list. So I have that copied. And then I'm going to come over to my mega prompt here and grab my outline. Actually, I'm just going to grab my mega prompt. We'll grab the whole mega prompt. Maybe not the whole mega prompt. I don't think we need the, we don't need all the persona stuff for right now. So I'm going to be in playground. I'm going to put this in here. I'm going to go up to the top and I'm going to take out this information. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to just get this in the system, the information about the story it needs. I'm going to do the task in the user box. So the task is, you will read a list of characters and then rewrite that list of characters. Make any changes to the descriptions about how that character has grown from Act 1 to Act 2. At the end, I need a list of characters that reflects the goals, weaknesses, and ambitions of the characters at the start of Act 2. So hopefully that prompt will work okay. And we don't want turbo, we want turbo 16K. I'll leave my presence penalty alone because I don't want it to be creative in its writing. I do want to kind of beef up my outline a little bit to kind of add to it more information about what I know happened. And oh, I have to change this. Get rid of the ghost formatting. Oh, ghost formatting. Ghost formatting from copying and pasting from what's the word? Notion. Okay. Jane decides to remain by Elizabeth Jane's sickbed. A musical evening is held. You know, I kind of think I want the beats for what I wrote. That would make the most sense for scene 1 through 3, 4, or 5. Good news is I kept all my beats because I'm a nerd like that. So my beats, let's go ahead and get these. I'll start with chapter 5 beats. Although, okay, edit, select all. No, it won't do that. It's the one down thing about Notion is that because you can move the different things around. So I have chapter 5. I have chapter 4. And I'll check the chat here in just a second. So if you have any questions about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, fire away because I'll answer those. Chapter 3. Let me open the chat. Okay, so no questions yet. Chapter 2. And chapter 1. Okay. So by having that, what I can do is in Playground, I can put that information into my outline instead of what I have so far. And what that'll do is it'll be more accurate in terms of what actually happened. So Jane falls ill. We have that. Now, usually when I do this, it's going to like blow my context window. It is a lot of information. But because I'm working in just a small amount, when I do scene 3, Act 3, I'm only going to be moving the characters from Act 2 to Act 3. So it only needs to know like what deeply happened in Act 2 because it's going to be changing the character list from Act 2 to Act 3. This one, I guess, Caroline Bingley. Yeah, that's scene 4. And then scene 5. And then I'm going to put here. At the end of scene 5, Elizabeth agrees Mr. Darcy to speak to her father about a courtship. She is in over her head because her feelings about Mr. Darcy are very confusing. she only flirted with him to one-up Miss Bingley. Okay. Here is the character list to modify. And now I'll put in the character list, major characters. So we have these characters here, Elizabeth and all of that. All right, let's see what it does. I don't know if it made any changes, so I'll ask it to do that. I don't know what it's doing. It's basically just writing it over again. Interesting. What changes were made? More self-aware. I want a character list for the characters after Act 1. Specifically, how have Jane, Elizabeth, Mr. Bingley, Mr. Darcy, and Miss Bingley changed at the end of Act 1 for Act 2. There we go, character list for the end of Act 1. It's not making any changes. All right, so before Act 2, these characters in court encountered. Okay, so this is interesting here. Right, so integrate that last paragraph, starting with before Act 2. Into the character list. Okay. All right. I guess that's, yeah, I'm going to reject it because while it did do the task, this is a moment that I'm pulling my card. I'm pulling my senior status. I am the senior writer in this job. So it's ultimately up on me. And I know that if I actually change the characters, then it'll be better. So this is a moment where I'm going, okay, I know the AI could do this, but I'm going to do it. I want to do it. So unfortunately, it doesn't work. Okay, so reviewed what happened in Act 1. She's a spirited and young woman with a playful sense of humor. She has a striking appearance. We got that. Fiercely independent. She can be stubborn. She is wounded by Mr. Darcy's initial dislike towards her. Okay, so now we are. Let's just start here, and we'll just so we aren't deleting here. So Elizabeth is her patience was tested by Miss Bingley, who warned her to stay away from Mr. Darcy. Elizabeth's sense of right and high competition caused her to challenge Miss Bingley and pursue Mr. Darcy's attention. Elizabeth rationalized it. to find a reason that helps others. She is currently conflicted because she has agreed to a courtship with Mr. Darcy in order to help her sister Jane's chances with Mr. Bingley, she has told herself. But Elizabeth is not sure she wants to marry Mr. Darcy and give up her independence. She is looking for any reason to find fault in Mr. Darcy. Okay, so I've explained her characterization for Act 2. Don't need this anymore. Mr. Darcy. His weaknesses lie. Often, Mr. Darcy makes decisions and helps those he believes under his care without consulting them. He is a man in love and believes he has the love and affections, one, of Elizabeth Bennet. He is capable of self-reflection and growth, but he must always deal with his anger. That comes first when he is changing, when he must change, when he must face change. There we go. Jane Bennet. Her weakness, yeah, she's kind of a Mary Sue in the story. I really didn't do very much with her or Mr. Bingley. They're kind of in the background, but Miss Bingley changed quite a bit. She views Elizabeth Bennet as her direct enemy and is beyond angry that her brother, Mr. Bingley, is in a courtship with Jane Bennet, and even worse, her beau, Mr. Darcy, is in the thralls of Elizabeth Bennet. She is always looking for a way to undermine the Bennet sisters. There we go. So we have that information. And the rest of this doesn't really need to go here. His loyalty to Lady Catherine Berg, Mr. Darcy's aunt, forces him to betray the Bennets and report to her what's happening in Hertfordshire about courtship and expected engagements of the Bennet daughters to Mr. Bingley and Mr. Darcy. Okay, so there we go. We have characters now. Yippee skippy. So that means that I can change my characters in story engines since I'm running different chapters and everything. So this is alpha for story engine. So let's go ahead and bring these. It's okay. I have this saved in my other. Actually, I don't know. Let me get to Act 1 just to make sure, because I made changes to these once they were already in story engine, and I just want to make sure I put them here too. Okay, yeah, that works. I do have it, the right version. All right, so let me go ahead and put the new version in. It's too long. Of course it's too long. Okay, so we'll make it shorter. So the character list, let's see how short I have to make it. 973. My goodness, we are 200 words over. All right, so let's grab this Elizabeth one because it's kind of the longest one. And I'm going to ask the Notion AI to help me. And I'm just going to say make it shorter. Cancel, replace section. That works. Some of these bit characters, I think we can make them shorter too. Make shorter. Yep, replace section. Mr. Collins is kind of long. Let's make shorter. This is the AI tool in Notion. Lady Catherine she's just kind of mentioned. She's not really going to be a player in this. Make shorter. Okay. How are we at now on words? Let's see. 870. Darn. Okay, Caroline Bingley's is long. Make shorter. Yes, replace section. Mr. Bennett. We'll make this shorter. And Miss Bennett. Mrs. Bennett. Make shorter. All right, how are we now? 790. I've still got to cut 90 words. All right, Mr. Darcy's too long. Make shorter. And Mr. Bingley, you're just kind of, you're wall decoration. You're just there to make a few comments. We can make you shorter too. Is that enough? Oh my gosh, 17 words. This is torture. Let's make Mr. Collins even shorter. Yeah. Even better. That cut 17 words. Okay, 681. We got it. Now I can bring that in. Take out the minor characters. That's not a thing. And we'll take out the numbers. This is where I just play secretary to the AI. And I'll check chat in just a second here before I move on to updating Story Engine number 2. This, and we'll update Story Engine number 2. I do think I want to update my outline too because the beats for the chapters that I've already written are more detailed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab where I have those beats in Playground, and I'm going to ask it to summarize those so that we have a better summary. Let me see what is in chat. Window. YouTube. Okay. Oh, nothing in chat. Very cool. How are you guys doing? We are at 45 minutes in. I know this is so much prep work, but this is kind of mirroring the prep work that I needed to do in session 1 before we got going. So this is just me doing the work of updating for Act 2. How many of you update your outline and everything like that when you move between acts? And this is what I'm having to do because my story is so long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this information. And it's just the information here. I'm going to hop into ChatGPT. I'm going to do a new chat into GPT-4. Please read this outline. Please summarize each scene into a few bullet points that captures the important information from this more detailed scene. Outline. Don't worry, I'm going to give you guys this prompt. So select all of this and click go. It was too long. Well, then fine. I'll leave you and I'll come into Playground. We'll refresh. We'll put it in here. We'll put this in user. We'll flip over to 16K is fine. I'll go longer. And we don't want a presence penalty because we don't want it to be creative. So I just needed a bigger, yeah, no, a few bullet points. Okay. That is too short. I want at least 3 to 4 sentences of summary per scene. Okay, we're getting better. Let's write at least 6 to 8 sentences per scene. There we go. That's better. That's more of what I wanted. There is no scene 6. Sometimes it hallucinates, but this is working okay. Great. Rename scene to chapter. This is so that I can just, no. Excuse me. Rewrite that exactly the same, but change scene to chapter. There we go. Chapter 1, chapter 2. This way I can just copy and paste it into Sudowrite and I can update my Sudowrite outline. And this is me being a little bit of a T-Rex because I mean, I could just make those changes. And it does, you do have to wait a little bit, but it gives me a chance to check this chat. All right. I usually remember to update after the next act starts going off the rails. Yeah, so that's what happened last night. It was going off the rails. And I was like, wait, what did I? Oh, yeah, I didn't update my characters. No wonder I couldn't write the beats for that scene because it didn't have the characters in the character list. Ryan sharing, I forget Notion can help do some of that work, so I don't have to copy and paste character descriptions between that and Playground. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to use the full suite of AI tools at our disposal a little bit here. And I mean, I can sit there and go, oh man, I need to think about this and think about that. I changed the characters. It was too much information that I used Notion to kind of like to winnow them down. So now that I have this information here, I'm going to go ahead and update my outline. So I'm coming over here. I got to remember where I think it's in the beats. Yeah. And then I have a Sudowrite outline right here. So we have these bullet points, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 5. So originally word counter plus. Oh, we can't do word counter plus. Okay. Well, then I'll just see the difference here. We are at 2,400 words on this outline. So now I'm going to delete that. It's not going to let me delete that. I said delete. Thank you. And now paste in. And now we were at 2,400 words and we are now down to 2,370. Not bad. I saved 70 words, but the information is still there. And more importantly, it's updated for what I actually wrote in the beats, because we went from outline to beats. When the beats happened, I was like, no, Shakespeare, this, that. I changed this, I changed that. And then that, I want that reflected into my chapter outline. So I think I'm going to do one more trick here. Oh, I owe you guys I owe you that, this stuff. So the beats were in system, and then this information was everything. Oh, come on, computer. I don't know why it won't let me. Oh, there we go. Okay, now I can copy all of it, which is what I wanted to do. All right, so let me go over here to the Future Fiction Academy. This is the Write A Thon thing. So this was a prompt for updating page. This was a prompt for updating outline with beats. So step one, save all your beats. Now you see why last night and yesterday I was like, oh, I got to save those beats. Oh, I got to save those beats. Saving your beats is the fastest way to go. Okay, because as long as if you're not going to really change the prose from what the beats say, you can do that. Now, obviously, my chapter 1, I did a lot of edits, and I really should summarize that chapter because she went to her room and all that. But and if you're not going to make major changes to the prose yet, you want to update the beats so that the rest of your story will follow along with the changes that you made to the beats into the outline. And then this was ChatGPT 16K in Playground. System prompt was the beats of Act 1. And that's what I put in system. So let me put in system here. Oh, nope, that was the finalized one. That's not what we wanted. There we go. That's Act 1. That is not it either. Man. You know what? We'll just clear all. We'll just clear the whole jump cut. That's what we'll do. We'll come back over here. We'll copy and paste them again. So that's everything copied. And that's everything copied. So the system prompt was the second thing that I grabbed. So, oh, it's the user. It says user. Please read this outline. Then, and the other one, this was everything that it did. So you guys have it now. You have the whole prompt. Okay, back to work. Where were we? All right, we updated characters, check. We updated the outline in Notion. We did not update the outline. So one thing I wanted to do was, so I'm kind of thinking, nah, it's fine. It's fine the way it is. I really think that chapter 1 is probably more than one scene, though. Mr. Collins arrives at Longbourn after learning that Jane and Bingley are soon to be engaged. They are in courtship with Mr. Bingley and Mr. Darcy, respectively. As, okay, and I need here, I'm going to change this outline too. Mr. Collins makes the purpose of his visit to union with one of his fair cousins, a parent to Mr. and Mrs. Bennet. Mr. Bennet is bombastic and says, Mr. Collins to choose whichever daughter he wants. But the eldest two spoken for, and the youngest one is too silly. Mrs. Bennet objects on behalf of her favorite, Lydia. Robert Mary into the chapter. He's not infatuated with her. Collins wisely suggests he get to know all of his cousins before making such an important decision. But he says this in a terribly awkward way. Okay, and that reminds me to update my characterization because I'm working in this story. Back here in characters, I need to say that Mr. Collins always speaks ridiculously. So I need my characters for Act 2 character list. Mr. Collins, pompous and long-winded person. Okay, so it already says that. Never mind. We're good. This is the hazards of like getting deep into the story before you run the story. And I think for my outline in story, for Sudowrite outline, I'm going to just write, I'm only going to do Act 1 and Act 2 in there because I'm going to put more details into this outline so that my beats are better. Embarrassing family dinner. Mr. Darcy, Mr. Bingley, and the whole Bennett family are there. Lots. Elizabeth is nervous. She is sat next to Mr. Darcy, who scarcely speaks. Collins brings up Lady Catherine, Mr. Darcy's aunt, and his cousin, and de Burgh incessantly. Darcy deflects. This confuses Elizabeth. Let's see. At the end of dinner, Mrs. Bennet, or Kitty convinces Mr. Bingley to throw a ball in 2 weeks' time at Netherfield Park. There we go. Okay, so chapter 1 is done. Chapter 2, before heading to the village of Meryton. Okay. That could be seen as bonding. Because I don't think he's proposed to marry yet. Okay. During a visit to the local village bookstore, Elizabeth bumps into Mr. Darcy, who has come to search for more works by Shakespeare. I want something better here. I don't know what, though. So this is where I can grab this information, Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, Act 4, because we're going to work in this. Let's take it into regular Sudowrite. I know it's 1058, but I think this prep work is going to matter. Because Act 2, I knew it was squishy to begin with. So I'm working on this. So I'm going to create I don't think there's anything untitled. So we'll call this outline work. Outline work. I do actually still really love the old tools of Sudowrite. So because I have this outline tool here, or I'm sorry, the Sudowrite tools here, remember the write details and rewrite and keep guided right, they all can read what's in here. I have 1,000 words in here right now for Act 1 and Act 2. By working in Act 2 where it can read up. So here's what I want. I want, before heading into the village of Meryton, I want to, if I highlight, this is scene 2, or chapter 2 rather, it's 109 words. So I'm going to click rewrite, and I'm going to ask it to, let's make it more intense. And it's going to take the whole rest of the outline into consideration that's above it, I believe, or at least part of it. Maybe it's in right. At the local village bookstore, the conversation burst into flame with a heat so strong it threatened to consume them both. Okay. Nope. On the way home, pointed out The girls knew what this meant and more importantly what it could mean, but they couldn't bring themselves. No. Okay, so this does not happen. This is not working very well. All right. Let me try this. Read. I'm just going to, I came up with some ideas, so this is what I have. He was so quiet at dinner last night. But Mr. Darcy explains that he is not one. He needs to hear his own voice in mixed company. Insinuating an insult against Mr. Collins. Noise outside draws their attentions as a regiment soldiers come marching through, and a few residents of Meriton talk to the girls on the clapboards, the Bennett girls. Lydia is excited, and Mr. Darcy kisses Elizabeth's hand. Mr. Darcy offers to walk the girls home. When Elizabeth says they will stay to finish watching parade, he bows and leaves. Okay. Kind of insinuating he saw Wickham and he's not happy. Insinuate Mr. Darcy saw Mr. Wickham and he's not happy, but do not mention Mr. Wickham. Just a handsome officer. Okay, chapter 3. An attempt to impress Lady Catherine de Bourgh. This is at Longbourn. Actually, I don't think I need this chapter at all. Yeah, I'm going to cut it because he's just going to do it. He was home. He stayed home. And so that happened off screen. That's sometimes important. It happens off screen. Okay, so this is chapter 3. Mrs. Bennet starts planning for the upcoming ball and insists on throwing a pre-ball dinner party. The night before. She is trying to force the announcement of engagements. And this is kind of a big jump in time, though. I'm going to have to think about this. If it's 2 weeks, I'm now saying like it's 2 weeks. What else could happen in the meantime? We'll just go with it. It's a book. Nobody dies. Inviting the whole neighborhood, including Mr. Darcy and Mr. Bingley from Netherfield Park. Oh. I could end up writing something like the gentlemen go to London or something. Modify this chapter. Okay. Lydia. Oh, I'm missing where she meets Mr. Wickham at her aunt's house. Wait a minute. This outline is messed up. Act 3. Okay. This is what I need. Oh man, this is going to be a mess. Oh no. It's okay. It's okay. So this is what should happen. All right, I'm going to mess up the Sudowrite outline because I can always fix it in the other one. So this happens here when, after that one, chapter 3. Okay, that's that one. And now chapter 4. I swear, you pull one thread and all of a sudden it's a big mess. This is going to happen here. Chapter 5. That's going to happen at the dinner. There we go. So she meets Mr. Wickham. And then, so chapter 4. Kind of changing the whole story, but that's okay. Jane rejects him. Walks in the garden. After Jane leaves, Elizabeth is left alone. She tries to logically process her courtship with Mr. Darcy so far, the ups and downs, the times Mr. Darcy has made her feel loved and desired, and the moments he has rejected her, and behaved ungentlemanlike. Also, the intelligence from Mr. Wickham. In the hall, she runs into Mr. Collins, who clears his throat and warns his cousin that he apologizes, but he had to write a letter to his most esteemed patroness, Lady Catherine de Bourgh, about her nephew. Collins warns that Mr. Darcy may not be in a position to offer her a proposal. Angry, Elizabeth storms down and more or less ignores Mr. Darcy the entire time on their walk. Okay? And I'll validate that in just a second. Let me check the chat. I know I'm overhauling my outline. This happens. I knew that this was going to be sometimes what happens here. Okay. Very cool. Let me check the chat here. I changed up my characters list, genre, style. but I like the many of the changes in the beats to make the characters' actions in the scene more specific. Oh, yeah, very much so. It's cool to watch the writing process of others. Thank you. Yeah, writing is not a one-shoe-fits-all. And then somebody says, so that way you make sure your outline fits with your beats. Yes. So when I ran my beats, I bring it over, or maybe to Miracle about saying like, she likes to make many of the changes in beats to make the character's actions in the scene specific inside brackets. That works. Me, I'm beefing up my outline because my outline was like floppy, I guess, in Act 2. And now I'm trying to bring like some of the real problems here. So we just had great romance, and now it's like something does not sound right. Lydia is also at the card table. She fawns all over Mr. Wickham. There we go. So then we have chapter 4. She takes her things to Jane. Jane's like, nah. All right. So now we have the silent walk. The walk of silence. Let me look here. So originally in Act 3, that happens. And yeah, this is getting cut. That's not even happening. So one benefit of this is I can just strike through because I don't want to delete it, but that way I can see it. We already fixed chapter 4. We're going to get to this. I think this is going to, that is going to be in Act 3. So we just had the terrible walk in the garden. I think, yeah, the gentlemen have not proposed yet. How do I want to handle this? I did want them actually engaged. I do want them actually engaged. Maybe that's what I was thinking. I wanted her actually engaged to Mr. Darcy before she finds out about Mr. Wickham. I need to think about that for just a second. They're in a courtship when they get to the ball. I mean, I really wanted that moment where she's like, I love you and I propose to you, but she's not really the one at fault in the story. The story kind of morphed to where she's not the only one at fault here. Mr. Darcy is too. So I think I'm going to have to change my ending. And I'm just going to have to give that up. It's just the way it is. It's a different story now. It's okay. I'm a little bit sad. I really wanted her to be like, I love you and we're going to get married, even after they're already engaged. All right. So we have warns that Mr. Darcy may not be in a position to offer a proposal the entire time on their walk. Then chapter 5. Yeah, he proposes to Mary. This causes some problems because Mr. Darcy and Mr. Bingley have not yet proposed to the elder daughters. Okay, so that's what I'll do. I'll hold the engagement back and then they get engaged at the morning of the, yeah, that works. Okay, that's perfect. I'm just going to move that. I know how I'm going to fix it now. The causes, let me write it down just so that I don't forget it. So the way I'm doing the sequence now is that the courtship's in trouble. They're not sure if the engagements are going to happen. The balls happen. Jane is engaged. Elizabeth and Darcy do not. And then on the morning of Oakham Mount, they do become engaged because they finally have that full talk there on Oakham Mount. And then they find Wickham and Lydia, and all that gets stopped. So, okay, so we'll do that. This causes some problems because Mr. Darcy and Mr. Bingley have not yet proposed to the elder daughters. Rumors fly in Meryton. And Lady Lucas and Aunt Phillips the following day at breakfast. All right. To commiserate with Mrs. Bennet at how everything is so out of order. Mr. Bennet refuses to believe such prattle and retires to his study. That's kind of the end of Act 2, and it's starting to look a little bit bleak. Mr. Bingley arrives to walk with Jane in the garden alone, stating that his friend was not at Netherfield Park when he left. He assumed Darcy took a ride, as he was wont to do. Elizabeth grabs her shawl and chaperones Mr. Bingley and Jane in the parlor. There we go. So they don't go for a walk. They're just there. Arrives to see Jane. And I think that's enough drama for Act 2. I don't think we need a Chapter 6. So we'll cut that out. I don't know. Actually, turn out that Caroline Bingley interfered is what'll end up happening there for that one. All right, so I'm going to keep this, come over to the outline, put all of this in here. Okay. Nope, did not make that change. Ugh. All right, just delete it. Paste it in. Turn into text. It's not. There we go. For some reason, it had like the bold formatting. All right, and we'll bring Act 1 and Act 3. Act 3 is not ready yet, so we'll just go with this for right now. And it's okay. It's fine that everything changed. So into Story Engine. And I know we're in our first hour kind of gone, but that's okay. We're gonna jam through this. Select all this and paste it in. And I also need to do it into my beta. Would you stop it? It's not more than 700 words. It took it just fine. Or 1,700 words. What am I? Oh, no, I deleted the wrong thing. Okay, hold on. I'm in characters. Back up. Oh, no. Okay, it's fine. This is why I have two. Let me just grab the characters here. Copy the characters. I'm in beta. So paste the characters in there first. And then this is outline. And we'll paste in the outline. And I mean, my outline for Act 1 and Act 2 is 1,300 words. So hopefully this is helping everyone see how you work with really long outlines. You're just going to have to work in chunks. Let me see if there's any questions here. Nope. Okay, so we're all going. All right, now it is time to run these new chapters. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to completely reject the chapter that ran before. I know we have it, but we're not going to keep that because it was really kind of just off, even though I have it. So we're going to delete this one. All right, so chapter 6 is what we're going to create. Actually, I usually create the even ones in here, so let's stick with that methodology. This has all the same information as the other one does. I'm going to go ahead and I have nothing in brain dump. Go ahead and create chapter 6. Create chapter. Generate the beats. And then once this is done, we'll validate those beats. And actually, once this runs, I'm going to come over here and run the beats for chapter 7, which is Act 2, chapter 2. Unfortunately, because Sudowrite just renumbers them, which makes sense because you can only have it allows you to have like a unique chapter for each variable there. But since I have it kind of Act 1, Act 2, chapters 1 through 5, the numbering's a little bit off. But it's not too terribly difficult to figure that out. So this one's going to create chapter 7. I don't think. Okay, we have the beats here. Let me just grab these beats. I'm just going to beat them up in ChatGPT because I refresh this. I'm going to put in the characters. And then characters. I think there's a problem with my characters. I think I copied and pasted it wrong into 2. Oh, no. Yeah. It knows Pride and Prejudice, so it didn't mess up for me, but this would have messed up if I was not running this. My Elizabeth didn't have a colon to define her as a character. So I don't know what happened if the beats are bad. But that's okay. We're going to come here and we're going to say, yeah, these beats are just so anemic now. Let me go to Playground. Yeah, so I have the characters and then I have, let me just fix it. There we go. Because I'll accidentally, and then I'll go outline. And I bring in the outline. Nope, those are beats. Just kidding. The outline for chapter 1, for Act 1 and Act 2. Okay. Read this list of step-by-step instructions to write Act 2, Chapter 1. Now I have to put the beats in. So these were the beats right here. Action, sample dialogue, setting details, and instructions on writing character motivation and subtext. There we go. So introduce them. Oh, my thing is too short. Okay. Do not use visual cues to talk about autumn or the weather. Do not use visual cues to talk about autumn or the weather. And our presence penalty can be up 1 because we're creating now. Submit. All right. Adapted his approach. Perfect. All right, these are much better beats. Great. Add in sample dialogue for each beat. Stay tuned for Act 2, Chapter 2. Wait a minute. How did we go from 10 to 6? Okay, we won't have sample dialogue. It's fine. I like it better here. The sample dialogue can go without. And I would write sample dialogue, but I'm not going to. So let me go ahead and delete the extra spacing in here because that'll cause a problem for Story Engine. It'll just run them twice as long. Boop, delete that. Oh, nothing to delete there. And then 6 is fine, 7's fine. Oh, 7 has character motivation. 8 does not, 9 does. Okay. All right, let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Cool. Everything's good. This is beats for chapter 6. So let me come over here. The beats. Poor chapter 6 had a bunch of different beats ideas. This is after act. This is after characters and outline revised. Okay, so we have those. So 6 is over here. I'm going to copy all these and paste that in. And now we'll run best prose and we'll let that go. And while that's going, this is why I run 2 story engines. These 7 beats are very anemic. So I bring it over here. I have the outline. I have the prompts already. So take that out. We're not doing that one. And we're not doing this. And we just put this in. And now I say it's Act 2, Chapter 2. Please rewrite them. You can add more plot points or beats that extend the scene longer, but do not contradict, but is in congruence with the story information, story outline. There we go. Let's see what it does. It's starting to write it. Cancel. Keeping the format similar. Okay, so that's what I needed in that beat, in that thing. No. We'll just take out this last part. Because I think that's what's making it write novel manuscript. No, cancel. A list. There we go. Please read the revised list below. We want a list. It's got to be a list, not novel manuscript. Sometimes it doesn't want to behave. Let's see how the story engine's going. Okay, 1900 words. Back over to Playground. Please rewrite them, keeping the format similar, but add in more sensory details. I did not do that. Character motivations and subtext. Whatever. It's fine. They're better than what they were. It is kind of a short scene, and I think we're going to need it because scene 5 is long. We'll make them work. They're 144. Now they're 342. So it is definitely more information than I thought it was. And then I'll come over here to the beats and put in chapter 7 beats. I think we're almost ready. So there's best prose. Got to label it. Best prose. And I will go ahead and do chapter 8 over here. Create the chapter just so it'll generate the beats real fast because I'll work on those beats. I actually did not really validate these. I just assumed it was good. 5 pounds says he proposes to marry within the hour. You know I will not take the wager. Oh, that's funny. It kind of just started in medio res. All right, well, this is fine. Did it finish the beats here? It did, and they're pretty anemic. And then I want another chapter 6. Copy these beats over. And now we're going to run most accurate, which takes a good minute. Most accurate is running, and I can start validating the beats. I didn't read them for chapter 7, so let's see. Mary and Mr. Collins engage in a passionate discussion about books at Longbourn. Okay. They would both reject an invite to walk to Meryton, where Mary wishes to go at first, possibly, but asks Mr. Collins when he declines, citing a pain in his right foot. Mary matches her answer to his, showing compliance. Yeah, she's the perfect wife for Mr. Collins. Visit the local bookstore. Oh, I just realized this. In this chapter, Mr. Darcy is going to have purchased Elizabeth a gift. Mr. Darcy, A Taming of the Shrew. That is illustrated. Yeah. That's what he's ordering from London, basically. Perfect. She's not mustering up the courage. They're in a courtship. She might embarrass the man. Hesitates. Elizabeth is stunned. He would insult her family. No fault for broaching the subject in public. Is at the counter talking to the shopkeeper. Okay, as the soldiers draw nearer, that a handsome officer turns to look at Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy before his head snaps back to attention. Elizabeth found almost second guesses if she saw what she thought she saw. But when she looks up at Mr. Darcy, his expression is not a friendly one. So she holds her tongue. Not recognizing. Kitty and Lydia whine. They are not done making purchases. They only went to the bookstore that Lizzie likes. It's not fair. Jane tries to satisfy them. And Elizabeth one, two, three, four, five, six. Okay. Yeah, this works. And that he would insult cousin. Elizabeth tries to talk to Jane. She only wants to know if Elizabeth thinks her gown will make Mr. Bingley happen. Elizabeth sighs and realizes she doesn't, and reminds herself her interest in Mr. Darcy to help Jane. So for the moment, she would keep her complaints to herself. She starts asking all of her sisters plans for their attire for the ball, and is inundated with their responses. There we go. So I beefed up beats for chapter 7. I did not do this for chapter 6 too much, but I think when I write that chapter, when I get into that chapter, I'm going to because it's a really ensemble piece. It's really hard for ensemble chapters for the AI to really get everything. So I'm kind of just punting the ball on chapter 6, knowing that that's just going to take a lot of time on my part to make that correct. So here we have chapter 6 should be done writing. Chapter 6 is with best prose. Where's the other chapter 6? And most accurate. Okay, 1,900 and 2,800 words. So now I have to bring them into alpha. And for that, I always want to label. So let me copy. I do best prose first, most accurate. Come over to alpha, close out of this. That's the one downside. I guess you could do. This is best prose. before session 4. Add characters and outline. I'm not going to delete it because there might be pieces of this that I can use. You know, I'm a dragon when it comes to hoarding the words, but I got charged for the words. I might as well keep them and see what I can do with them. So this is going to be chapter 6. And I'll check the chat in just a second here. Chapter 6, most accurate. No. I'll remember what that means later, because when I look at it, it says the note inside of it. So this is most accurate. And then add a new document. Chapter 6. I do know that there is talk about there being a tool here that it'll automatically name your documents for you based on what's in there, coming down the pipeline possibly. That would make this a lot easier to do. Best prose. Okay, so that's the final ones there. And just so that I'm writing it down, chapter 6, 1933 best prose, and most accurate was like 2888. All right, and now we're ready to come over to alpha and run. No, I don't want the trash. I want the story engine. Let's go ahead and run 7 because I validated 7. So we'll run it most accurate first, and then I'll run best prose. And let me check the chat. We are coming up on 15 minutes left of the session. And let me check the chat. How are we going? Okay, nothing in the chat so far. So how did your guys' sessions go? How are we going? I think I'm going to have time to run chapter 7 and maybe to validate the chapter 8 beats in just a second, but I don't know. It's going to be tight. And you go, Alexa, set a timer for 18 minutes, just so that I make sure I don't go over. And I'll have the word counts, the final word counts again of what we have so far. I should probably just make a spreadsheet. Oh, let's go validate chapter 8. Because I ran them through. I did not run them through. Just kidding. So coming over to playground, this beat is working really well. I already saved these, so take those out. Bring these in. Boop. And it's now chapter 2, act 2, chapter 3. Please rewrite them. Submit. Let's see what it does. All at the card game. Perfect. Wait a minute. Okay, hold on. What? I think it went on to chapter 4 because chapter 4 is when we have the actually we don't have the pre-balling, but the pre-upcoming ball dinner. Just one moment. I gotta let my dog in. Come on. You just ruined it for the last 15 minutes. Oh, don't look at me like that. She's looking at me like, what? I did not ruin it. All right, so this is a little bit improper and sends out invitations. Okay. So declares she is planning. And the card game at her Aunt Phillips. Okay. I don't hate these. I could work with it. So let me copy and save it. Chapter 8 beats. Page? No. Come on. Get me a page. There we go. Chapter 8 beats. Anemic for the anemic beats. What was this one? First round was this stuff. I don't. That's great. Please rewrite that. Make it a list of steps, numbered steps. That'll do that. There we go. So now we have 1 and 2. I'm already going to have to fix that because I know for the strides. All right. Rewrite the list so that every number is plot and instructions on writing that part of the plot. No number should just be plot or just be instructions on how to write. Okay, we can work with this. This will work better. Oh, we have a problem. There is no pre-ball dinner. The scene only includes Mrs. Bennett planning that event. Scene ends. I don't know where the scene ends. At the card game. Apologies for the conclusion. Okay, so she plans it. She tends the game during the card game. I'm just going to have to do it myself. It's too confused. Okay. Sometimes that happens. It's just the way it is. So this is most accurate for chapter 7. I need another chapter 7, if you please. Copy the beats over. And now we need best prose. Run. Now I have learned you cannot click send to doc while the other one's running. It'll interrupt it and it'll stop running. I kind of was hoping it would write more, but I'm realizing now that I need it to do 16 beats, I think, for this scene. So let me show you how I change that. So this is actually kind of a neat strategy because basically it wrote 2,000 words, but I don't think that this is going to be all the information that I want. I guess we can leave it. It's fine. It's probably closer to the length. But one strategy you could do is that you could actually divide this 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. You can actually take your longer beats, divide them into 2, and that forces that longer beat to be run in one stride. A stride is 2 beats in Story Engine. And this one's best prose that's running. I'm not going to validate the other beats in time. Honestly, my brain is a little bit mush. But we did get a lot done. We got everything redone on the chapters. We got 2 chapters run. So good for that. We have a next session at what time? 2 o'clock, 2 p.m., I think. Let me double check that. It seems off on the numbers. Let's see here. Future Fiction Academy. And if I go to the lives, and thank you everyone for subscribing and everything like that. That really helps. Okay, we are not writing again till, wait, yeah, that's tomorrow, 3 p.m. Okay, so I gave myself an even bigger break, which is fantastic because I think I'm going to need it, honestly. I'm going to work through some of the edits. That's not outside of the realm of the project or anything like that. And then we'll be back to run more at 3 p.m. Eastern time today. So it's 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. I did not give myself as much of a break at the evening hours. Let me check the chat here a little bit and see how everyone is doing. How did your session go? Editing is a whole other beast. It really is. Okay, let me catch up. Oh my goodness. Great chats. Still waking up. Yeah, I think I'm going to go for a walk actually because I've been sitting for 2 hours. And walks always help me immensely kind of like rethink new ideas for the story. 3 chapters, slightly over 10,000 words of raw words to edit. Good job, Harper. Looks good. We'll see how the editing goes. Yeah, editing is definitely a whole nother beast. It does. I have tea, and I've been doing that, although now it's like dreadfully cold, but I'm a mother, so I drink cold coffee. I drink cold tea. The hard part will be not talking. All right, let's do a recap of what we did this session, because that's always an important thing for this entire experiment, I think. So I'll come into here and we'll write everything that we did in the stats. So session 4. Well, overhauled the outline. Yeah, the story changed. Updated characters for Act 2. Change the outline for Act 2. This will impact story for later acts. Created prompts to beef up beats more. And we did chapters 6 and 7 generated in Story Engine. Both, what's the word? Both models, best prose and most accurate. Not shabby for 2 hours of work. And hopefully this is done now. And it is. So this is best prose. And I just go ahead and send these to the doc. So send to the doc. Chapter 7. Da 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 da. Oh, we have a loading screen. There we go. Okay. Story Engine's like, Elizabeth, you've been making me work. Most accurate is what this one is. And then I come back over to my Story Engine. Now, this is one little thing I always want to point out. It will change your order. So remember, it was most accurate on the left, but best prose on the right. Now best prose is over here. It reorders it based on like when it was run. So it's something that happens. I would like to be able to move these silos around in my perfect world. And this is best prose. All right. And then that means that in chapter 7, let's see here. Chapter 7, most accurate, best prose. Most accurate was, don't have that number. I've got best prose 1485. I think it was 2000 something. 2090, which means for our session, actual prose generated, because that's the word we use. We have 1933 plus 2888 plus 2090 plus 1485. Holy shnikes. I did not think it was that much. How many total thousands of words, just how many thousands of words in prose do you think we generated this session? It really sneaks up on you. I know I just said the numbers out loud, so those of you who can do math are like, okay, here's the number. Yes, all caps does add emphasis in Playground. We generated 8,395 words in what I thought was like a terrible session. We got hardly anything done. If that was what I got done for the work for the day, and then in the afternoon did 2-hour sessions of editing that up, and I was able to write, 5,000 to 8,000 words a day, I would be very happy in my career. I think the rest of you would be too. So that's 8,395 words. We are sitting at a total of generated words. I'll add it all up. 8396. yesterday we had plus 19,960 from Act 1. Okay. That can't be right. Oh, because I was excluding Chapter 1. Chapter 1 we've already edited up. So here's what we have so far. We have 3,200 words that are edited. Those are final draft words. I did those in session 2. So I know that. That's final draft words. So generated words left to edit. There is 754 left over from Chapter 1 because I didn't quite finish it. And then Chapter 2 was, let's see, 1830 plus 2933. I will make a spreadsheet of this so that it's faster because I shouldn't have to calculate all this all the time. And that way we can just see it. Plus 1570 plus 2539 plus 3936. Okay, 19,960 is for Act 1. So Act 1 is that. And then Act 2, we have 8395. We are at, right now, 28,355 words generated, waiting for edits. So we are over halfway. We have sessions 5, 6, 7. I'm probably going to have to add sessions for Sunday, just so that I can finish this experiment out. Plus, I need the words because the pre-order is due July 15th. So I have to edit these all up. So we are getting very close. We have 22,000 left to go, basically. If I was writing this by hand, this is the part where I would typically be ready to abandon the project altogether because I'd be bored with it. But I'm not. And I think if I can get it all the way through, even if it's just a bunch of words that I have to edit, I think that'll be good for me to get to that finish line there. How many of you do this methodology where you are just getting the AI words to just generate as much as you can and then you edit them later? Has anyone done a full project before? And also, could you give tips to your girl here about the ways that you manage the mental overwhelm of having the sea of words to fix? Maybe it's just a draft that you would do back in the old days. My goodness, the days before AI, where we would like handwrite everything out or type it all out. Does anyone just think about it for next session? Just bring some ideas if you don't mind about how are we going to tackle this behemoth of words that needs to be edited. That would be fun. I may end up having to do a game with it of like figuring out how many chapters there are. There may have to be prizes for me to hit certain points. One time a book had 2 chapters left to write before I could publish it. It sat that way for about a month and a half. In my defense, I was going through a divorce. This was a winter wonder. It just sat there. I literally I was like, okay, this is the day I'm going to finish this book. I ordered a edible arrangement that I had to pick up at 11 a.m. and I picked it up at 1 o'clock because that's when I was done. Okay, so Mira Gold is saying that she tightens her outline and beats, like what I'm doing, generates all the content. Yep, and then she does the edits. Okay, good to know. And Harper, this is your first time too. So, all right, we'll be in this boat together, Harper. We'll provide support for each other in the Discord. All right, thank you, everyone. I know there's like 2 minutes left, but honestly, I need the time. We're gonna end a little bit early today, or on this session. I will see you all at 3 p.m. Eastern. Bring your friends because I think the next one's going to be another like whoosh, and we're going to get a lot of those 3 chapters done, and then we'll start tackling the outline for Act 3 and Act 4. All right, have a great day. Good luck with your projects, and try to find some sunshine. See you later. Tim says he's done full projects, a lot different, so not sure it would help. Oh no, if you've done full projects and then you edit, we'd love to hear it. We'd love to hear the strategies. We'll share the strategies so we can all help each other. All right. Not right now, but in session 3 or in the Discord. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.